Christian, did you meet with anything else in that valley? Faithful, yes, I met with shame, but of all the men that I met with in my pilgrimage, I think that he bore the wrong name. He would have been more appropriately named Shameless. Christian, why, what did he say to you? Faithful, what? Why, he objected against religion itself. He said that it was a pitiful, inferior, unmanly business for one to mind religion. He said that a tender conscience was an unmanly thing, and that for a man to watch over his words and ways, which the most popular people use, would make him the ridicule of the times. He also said that only a few of the mighty, rich, or wise, were ever of my opinion, and that these few were fools to venture the loss of all, for who knows what. He also objected to the poor and despised condition of all the pilgrims of the past, along with their ignorance and lack of understanding of all the new scientific theories. Yes, he also berated me about a great many more things than I relate here. He told me that it was a shame to sit convicted and mourning under a sermon, or to be deeply concerned about eternal realities. He also said that it was a shame to ask my neighbor to forgive my petty faults, or to make restitution where I had stolen from any. He also said that religion made a man appear odd and strange to the great people of this world, and that pilgrims were, for the most part, poor and lowly. To him, this was a great shame. Christian, and what did you say to him? Faithful, say. I was so ashamed and humiliated that I could not say anything at first. But at last, I began to consider that what is highly valued among men is detestable in God's sight. Shame had told me what is acceptable by worldly men, but he told me nothing about what God desires and commands. I also thought that at the final judgment we shall not be designated to death or life, according to the standards of the world, but according to the wisdom and law of the Most High God. Therefore, what God says is indeed the best, though all men in the world may disagree with him. Seeing, then, that God prefers his divine religion and a tender conscience, and that those who make themselves fools for the kingdom of heaven are the wisest, and that the poor man who loves Christ is richer than the greatest man in the world who hates him, depart shame, for you are an enemy to my salvation. Shall I take your side against my sovereign Lord? If I am now ashamed of his ways and servants, how then shall I look him in the face, and receive his blessing at his coming? Indeed, this shame was a bold villain. I could scarcely shake him off. Yes, he continued haunting me and whispering in my ear some of the hindrances which attend true religion. But at last I told him that it was in vain to attempt to further dissuade me. For those things which he so disdained were the most glorious in my eyes. So at last I got past this most troublesome person. When I had finally shaken him off, then I began to sing. The trials that those men do meet withal, who are obedient to the heavenly call, are manifold, and suited to the flesh, and come again afresh, that now, or sometime else, we by them may be taken, overcome, and cast away. Oh, let the pilgrims, then, be vigilant, and act courageous like men. Christian, I am glad, my brother, that you withstood this villain so bravely, for as you say, I think he has the wrong name. For he is so bold as to follow us in the streets, and to attempt to put us to shame before all men. He seeks to make us ashamed of that which is good. If he were not so audacious, he would never attempt to do as he does. But let us still resist him, for notwithstanding all his bravadoes, he is nothing but a brazen fool. The wise shall inherit honor, said Solomon, but he holds fools up to shame. Faithful, I think we must cry to him for help against shame. He would have us to be valiant for the truth upon the earth. Christian, that is true.